European context where I come from. And for you to, I guess you wonder how I got to the wellness industry itself. And it didn't really happen in Czech Republic that I described. It happened in Denmark. I was studying at the Jana Sports Academy, and this guy that is pictured here is the headmaster of the school, and he started one class with a very simple question, and the question was, what is wellness? Back then, I knew the words, and I was like, okay, but what am I going to say? So I was thinking of something like passive care of your body, some services. I didn't really think about the word itself. I knew it existed. And my answer was not very clear. And his answer was this. His answer were definitions of wellness from Czech Travis, as they are listed in the wellness workbook. And this was so interesting for me because I never heard of this, and I so much agreed with what he had to say. So I borrowed this book from the headmaster of the school, and it was like as somebody opened the chamber of secrets for me. And it was a chamber of wellness, but the light was off, and I had this torch, and I was going through all the resources I could find. The first was this John Travis's book, but the rest was just Google. Because as far as there is no wellness industry in Czech Republic or Europe, in our libraries we just don't have books about wellness. So what I had was Google. And as this says, the legitimate search is on the first site. Have you ever tried to Google wellness?
Yeah.
What did you find?
Heaps and heaps of stuff that really is not wellness.
Yeah.
It's up front.
That was the mess I had in my head when I tried to dig deeper. So I knew there was some book about wellness, and then there was this wellness on Google. It was very different. So I was digging for a long time. It actually took me 3 years of reading and writing, and at the very end, I actually got deeper into the resources, and I happened to meet, not in person, but in the writings, the people like Halbert Aldan, John Travis, Don Ardell, or Bill Hetler, with what they had to say about wellness. And this was the wellness theory I was putting together. And the result I had was, this was my first master thesis. It was about the history and the concept of wellness in the United States. And yeah, one of the feedback I got from my advisors was that it's too colorful. Wellness, it just is colorful. So I left it like this, and it went through okay. And I did another thesis as well, because I was doing 2 masters, and it was from the management field. Like I was proposing to use the wellness concept as a tool to work with human resource development in the field when we don't really want to address only the knowledge or the information, but as well the attitudes. So I somehow combined Czech traditions of experiential learning. So it was some start of actually what I'm doing now. Well, and along the way that I was digging deeper into wellness, I became a member of the National Wellness Institute because it sounded like the good resource of the information. And it was almost a year ago, maybe just a year ago, when I received an email from Mandy, I guess you know her, where she informed me that I received the student scholarship for the National Wellness 2013. So I quit my job and I went to the United States for 2 months. And this is how we get to the American way of wellness, moving from Europe to the States. Do you remember this? This was last conference. It was beautiful. This is how I looked, and this is how I felt. Can you imagine just reading 3 years, say, about volleyball? You know all the ways how to teach volleyball, you know all the rules, you know how it works. But then you see it, that's how I felt. It was like, oh my goodness! Every presentation was blowing my mind. It was, oh, you really have wellness nurses? What it is? There are some people who are being paid for advising people. Like, yes, it was something that really opened my mind to what the wellness reality actually looks like. And it was, say, a bit different from what I expected from my books, because there was not so much theory, there was practice, sometimes more practice than the theory. And it was another source of things I was putting together. And then there were those 2 months I spent as an intern with this hilarious woman, Alida, as her intern in the Suma health system. And what Alida did for me was the time she gave me with our never-ending discussions about wellness. Because that's it. The 1 hour conversation with a person who knows is better than 3 years of reading. So we talked for 6 weeks, and I read almost all her books about wellness, and it was, I just told her like 10 minutes ago, it was a paradise for me. Actually, it was. But, you know, it was, as those 3 years I was going through the chamber of wellness, as I said at the beginning, and as I came here, it was as if you turned on the light, and you saw it, and it was something you didn't expect. But then I knew I was going back, and I mean to the place where the light is still off, where people don't know what wellness is. So I contacted some magazines if they want to inform their readers what I learned here. And some of them replied, and they wanted me to ask, what do Americans expect from wellness centers? So I did ask the people I met at the conference, and the reply I received was, what is a wellness center? And with this point I realized there might be a slight more conceptual difference between what we see as wellness, I mean us as Europeans, and what you have here as wellness, because your wellness here is not really tied to a wellness center, right? So that's why we're moving to the part 2 of my presentation, which is defining the global wellness, because it is a thing that needs to be defined before we go into the practice. That's the theory and the practice thing. Did any of you see this graph before? Yeah. And it's a very famous graph from the Stanford Research Institute. And it nicely puts up the important things of wellness. So when I got back, I did something like this, the same research question with my students at the university, assuming that they will be the people who are closer, because I'm at the sports faculty, they work with people, they are closer to the topic, so that they might know. And what I received was this. It was relaxation and body, it was passive, it was this massage, sauna services, and there was not much of this mind. There's even happiness, harmony. These were things that I didn't find among my students. And these were things that really made me think deeper about the distinction about European perception of wellness and the American perception of wellness. So,
does that
yes?
actually say man right there on the right?
Sorry?
A
Where?
man, right to the left of physical. See the physical, and then to the left it says man.
Left?
Yep, there you go. Up.
Man. It was meant like a human, I guess.
Okay.
So this was translated from Czech. So
Okay.
they did it in Czech. So it was yeah. So it meant like a human. Or there's another question.
Did you? Because it was an age difference, right? So who was the age of the people here you surveyed?
These were students of the university. These were young
Here,
people.
I'm saying you got those are from what age?
These were regular visitors of wellness center around the globe, but majority were they from North America, but I can't tell you
What
now
about their age?
the age group.
Yeah, no, okay.
I guess,
Is that
but
what
I guess they were much older than the students. I don't mean to really tell you this is Czech wellness and this is American wellness. Just want to point the difference, because the reality of wellness in Czech looks like this. This is an article from papers that my grandfather cut for me. The title says "How to Survive Wellness," because the thing that is mostly tied to wellness in Czech is wellness weekend, where you go for a weekend stay in a hotel and you go through all the procedures, like a beauty procedure, wherever you need to swimming, massages, some other. They can really cover you with everything you want, with chocolate and oil. You can even take a beer bath.
Someone else
It's
wants.
very famous in Czech because they love beer. And then after that, you definitely go to sauna, and then you meet a physiotherapist. Then you whirlpool for a while, and then you are dead. Really, after you pass, you survive through this, you want to take another vacation for several other days. So this is the perception of wellness in Czech, but it's not an issue only for Czech Republic. The same goes for Germany, where wellness as they have this German wellness institution, which director is promoting the real wellness, but still they founded it in 1990s, but still it's just spa. We like spa. In Europe, spa has very long tradition, so it's very tied to this history we have. But at this point, I will move to the Asian part. Here it will be India, because this trend is not only European thing. On the global area, there is this global spa and wellness summit that connects all spa providers all around the globe. And they recently published together with the Stanford Research Institute, from which graph was. They published those 2 papers. And in 2010, they suggested the synergies and opportunities for wellness industry together if they take the wellness ideas. And as you can see, until then it was Global Spa Summit. It is so huge that the Global Spa Summit changed their name to Global Spa and Wellness Summit. And they really like it because the opportunities are there, they're huge. And this year they had a meeting in India, and they defined the global wellness tourism. But before I go to wellness tourism, in the first paper they defined the global wellness industry, estimating it is as big as $1.9 trillion. Huge, and this is only the services connected to spa. So yeah, then there is this big economic motivation driving the wellness and spa industry together, but we don't do it only for money, right? In the second paper this year, last year, they dig more deeper into the wellness tourism, estimating it to be over $400 billion. And if you look at the graph before, wellness tourism was in 2010 around $100 billion. And in 2013, they estimated it to be 400, and they project it will still grow. So this is what spa industry thinks wellness can bring to them. So it will only grow, and I don't know how is the spa tradition or the connection of spa and wellness here in the States, but globally it is where it is, as you can see. They had and even the reason why I put this on the map of India, they had a meeting this year at a conference, a huge conference named The Defining Moment, where they officially claimed wellness to be their most biggest topic. And one of the speakers was Dalai Lama giving a presentation about what is wellness. The question is coming back. And his speech, you can watch it on YouTube, or you can find the transcript on the Global Spa and Wellness Summit webpage. His speech was basically about spiritual wellness, about happiness, just as our keynote speaker said in the morning. And but yes, at the very end there was discussion, and somebody asked him if he has ever been to the hot waters in Tibet, and he said that he doesn't know much about spa, but it just feels good. And I read a comment from one of the organizers, and she was so touched by this simple sentence that actually that's the point. That's what we do. It just feels good, and it's not actually. If you really go deeper into wellness, it doesn't need to be good all the time. If you really want to address underlying problems we might have, we might go intentionally through actually rough times. But we can agree that the real goal is to have happy and satisfying, fulfilling life. And then we actually go into another issue, which is the notion of happy and satisfying and fulfilling life, which looks different in India, it looks different in China, and it looks different in Czech Republic as it does here. So this brings the global wellness to the need of coming like upper to the more abstract level, that we can't focus on the practical things, like, because in Europe we can basically just walk to work or can bike to work. But if you here drive 1 hour by car to work, this advice is not valid for you. And this goes around the globe with the same issue, that if you don't know the real context, you just can't talk about global wellness and practical applications. And if we go to the abstract level of fulfilling and satisfying life, then wellness meets the other concepts that actually already addressed happy and healthy life, which in India is this Ayurvedic system, or in China, Chinese traditional system, or in Europe we have this Kalokagatia, which is ancient Greek and Roman ideal of a healthy mind and healthy body. In some authors it's a healthy human and healthy surroundings where he lives. And with those concepts, we have many things, or wellness has many things in common. All those are connected or focused on an individual. They all want to prevent the causes of an illness rather than just treating the symptoms. They very often are, not very often, they all are connected to some kind of philosophy or lifestyle, religion, not lifestyle religion, just a religion. And that's like spirituality with wellness. It all has the same features. So what I propose with global wellness, that we have to go beyond the practical advices, as I said. And on this theoretical level, we can then learn from each other, because those very old practices, they have done this for thousands of years, and we don't need to be inventing the wheel again and again. So there are things we can learn from each other, but we have to know that on the abstract level, we talk about the same, then we can look at what you do, and then we take it and apply it in our own environment, because otherwise it's just doing something we don't know why we are doing it. And it's like, in many cases it's like yoga for many teachers. They don't really know why the movements are like, because somebody taught them, but every movement in the Indian yoga has its symbolism, but we just don't know, so we just do the movement, and very often we are doing it wrong. So yeah, that's what I apply for the global wellness. But I was talking about this with my friend, and it was a long discussion, and we ended up with a thing, with a question. Like the question he asked me, if can everybody see that far? Can really everybody go to this abstract level of satisfying, fulfilling life? And my answer was that maybe not. Maybe not everybody is able to think about fulfilling life. They have never done it before, and I just come to them and drag them into the middle of conversation of fulfilling life in China or somewhere else, and how can we combine this? So in this we have to, and I would agree with the very first paper from the Stanford Research Institute that proposed for the spa industry, that one of the first things is to define what wellness is, and then to teach the wellness professionals or the spa professionals what it is. And those, at least in this level, if they know, then the other people can just follow. But if the people around the Global Spa Institute or the practitioners don't know what it is about, then we are in all the mixture of everything and nothing, and we are not really getting to the end, which is the happy and satisfying life. And so this was the global context of spa. And I will now drag us back to, very quickly, to Czech Republic to tell you what I do with all this, having this in mind, and or actually what I've been doing since I left Stevens Point last year. Actually, think that people like to, or there are these learning styles, you know. Somebody likes to hear, somebody likes to read, somebody likes to do the things. So for those who like to read, I'm giving presentations about wellness or lectures. And it's very interesting to talk about it because there still is this presumption that I work in the spa industry and I don't talk about spa massage. People are shocked sometimes at the beginning, but at the very end they like it. They like the ideas and they are interested in it. And that's what makes me interested in this field, because I think it's this opportunity, but I think it's a kind of good way how to get to people, just to explain at the beginning. But for those who want to read, is this blog I just published today for this occasion, not for today, since today it will be published, where my presentation is. And I hope it will be the first and the biggest resource about wellness for Czech people. It will be as well as in English as in Czech, because so far there is no resource where you can read anything. So for the others, so that they don't need to go with this Google torch around wellness, so I will tell them what I have learned. And the most important thing I've done in the last year, and as a part of my dissertation, was this 12 weeks or 13 weeks long course about wellness. But as I said, wellness in Czech is spa, so I prevented this notion. So my course is named On My Way to Health, I Found Myself, because I think that personality development is a key to healthy life. So and this is a picture of my first participants. At the very end, they're smiling, so they enjoyed it. Actually, through the course, we are using the things I've read in the very first book I counted, the models and the questionnaire from John Travis and his wellness workbook. And basically, along this wellness in this continuum, the course works with this awareness and education for the people. We work with the group dynamics. The group was from 10 to sometimes less participants. And we actually, as I said a minute ago, we had a weekend before we started the course. And in this weekend, we use, in Czech we have this traditional Czech experiential reflective learning. It happens outside. It happens that we take people not necessarily to the forest, but somewhere into the house in the forest, and give them the place and the time to reflect on their health. And we give them the basic paradigm of wellness. We just take them out of their normal lives and start the course like this. And it starts the group dynamics very fully. And we use principles of dramaturgy, which is when you design the program, you work with the topic, you work with physical activities, but as well with the group dynamics, you have like curves, how to make them be very interested in wellness at the very end, which is a way how to make those people motivated and actually working for the rest of the course. Yeah, the results of the course ended last month, and they all were better, which I hoped for and I expected. But my research interest is if they will be still better after 6 months and after a year, because those methods we're using, I hope they are I believe, are the most effective ways how to work with people with behavioral change. But I'm at the very beginning of my wellness career, and I'm doing this for the first time. And I hope that, and I know that many of you have more experiences in this field. So if you have some later on some advices or experiences, please share them with me. Because the last slide I have is what I tell you that I do is very different from what spas do. And I don't think this is a problem. For me, we're getting to the part of the opportunities. Because spas do just a part. They are not doing it wrong. They are just doing a part of what the wellness spectrum can be. So they already attract the people who want to do something with themselves, with their bodies and with their lives. So we know where these people are, but we need to explain them what wellness is. And as we discussed with the Jana during the breakfast, how to take the wellness from the wellness center back to their normal lives, to help them. But yes, I can't do this alone. And so far I'm alone. And there's this other, my grandfather who's really into wellness, is cutting those things from newspapers for me. But it's not enough. And if you ever want to come to Europe and do something with spa industry, or I have the university behind my back, or so if you want to do some research or cooperation, please don't hesitate to contact me. I have my cards here with me. Because that's the opportunity the global wellness brings us. The threat is that when we go somewhere else, talk about wellness, they either don't know what we are talking about or think we're talking about something else than we are actually talking about. So if you wanted to help European wellness to get better, more well, here we are. Here I am, actually. So thank you for.
Probably got time for one question. Well, we got two.
I'll do a quick one. I like what you said about wellness being more than feeling good. What do you think about wellness as not so much feeling good personally and being happy and being personally healthy, but a well person is one who makes a difference in the world and serves others? What do you think about that distinction? And in doing that, the person may end up happy, but what do you think about putting the focus there?
Putting the focus. I think that everyone has its own needs, what to do with his life. And at some point, like, I found my wellness in 2010, and that's what I do for other people, and I hope that everybody has this need. So yes, wellness for me could be a way how to provoke this in people, but so far my wellness is about raising the awareness of the topics with people, and wherever they decide to go, if it is not the very wrong way, going with them. So I'm not sure if I really answered your question, but maybe we can talk about this later on. We still have 3 days of the conference.
Okay.
Question?
I just wanted to know, in those 12 weeks, what did you cover? I mean, did you go into different modalities and different aspects?
We work with the 12 dimensions from John Travis.
Oh, okay.
So every week
Okay.
covers one of the dimensions.
Okay.
And they are
Yeah.
like one after another, so they nicely make reason.
Beautiful.
Can you
Sense.
think? We've had done that, but
I
sure,
took
yeah.
so much time.
But can you thank a real wellness entrepreneur? Because I think that's what Jana is trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay. There's been entrepreneurs who I was enthused by some entrepreneurs from here over in Australia in 1990, and I think it's happening again
Yes.
in another country,
Yes.
and I really applaud
Yes,
for
yes.
what she's doing.